You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. And it's blue. We are live. Lately, it's been starting the lives before it says live. So right away, I want to say hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Collaboration Station. We've been meeting, oh man, Cindy, how long ago did we start? It's been over a year, I think it said.
I think it's been that long. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been meeting every Monday at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock my time. And we've been just talking about anything VIPKid or anything about teaching online in general. So super excited to have Amanda, Cindy, and Melissa here. You guys want to say hello? Introduce yourselves.
Do you want to go first, Cindy?
Okay, sure. My name's Cindy. I've been here a lot. Not every single time. Today I am, sometimes on Mondays I have stuff going on, but so yeah, I do VIPKid 2.5 years, VIPKid iPad users group. I also have my YouTube channel, and I have taken a lot of Amanda Panda's classes.
Yay! That's awesome.
Yeah, she's improved my tech skills quite a bit this last little while.
I've got them. I just have to go through them and do my work. So, Cindy, did you mention, I was getting the thing up, did you mention your iPad group and your, okay. So yeah,
and on my channel, I do a lot of on my channel. I'm trying to give people ways to use their iPad for other than just sitting there waiting to be a backup.
Right.
There's a lot of great things you can do with it. And so I use it a lot for teaching and doing different things in the classroom, hooked to my computer, and you can also use it separate. And so that's what I try to share a lot of.
And I was told somebody reached out to you after this. Remind me, somebody reached out to you for help. He comes to our collaborations a lot. Not our Monday collabs, but our morning one. So we'll have to talk about it. Yeah, James, he told me, he's like, I'm trying to get a hold of Cindy. I was like,
oh, really? He did make a mention. He was like, what iPad should I get? And he moving to another island or something.
Right.
And so, that's kind of a choice according to your budget.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to go with the top of the line. I do have a video on the iPad group that shows you the difference between there's a top of the line Pro, and then there's one down a little bit lesser Pro. And I probably would go for that one, unless you have the money, just go all out. But they say the top of the line Pro is good for people that want to make videos and stuff like that. There's extra things that maybe not everybody's going to really utilize.
Right.
So
maybe he does. I know he was talking about doing some videos on cooking. So maybe he does want that one.
Maybe he does want that one. Yeah, if you got the money, I love my iPad, and every day I find new things you can do with it.
Yeah, so, you're good about that.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda. Hey, Amanda.
Hello. Welcome. I just realized I have no lights on, so I'm going to go flick lights in a second. I'm like, why is it so dark in here? I can't see I have good lighting in general, but they're off. Hello. Welcome. Hey, so glad to see you. I'm Amanda Panda teacher. I am a digital course creator, make courses for teachers, Etsy shop seller, VIPKid teacher by the early mornings, and all around busy gal. I help support online teachers and teachers in brick and mortar school to integrate technology, props, and resources to make awesome classes. So glad to be with you. I'd love to connect. I have a Facebook group for Manicam to give support. I am on social media, my own YouTube channel. So find me, ask me questions. I'm happy to help.
Excellent. And Melissa, hey Melissa, thanks for coming.
Hello. I'm Melissa. I teach for OutSchool, Splash Learn, and VIPKid, and I have a VIPKid Facebook page, VIPKid Friends. So we'd love to have you join. It's a fun page. We like to do giveaways and contests and just sort of get to know each other outside of VIPKid, but also, we're helpful and supportive with all questions VIPKid as well.
Yeah.
So join. So we have a fun giveaway coming up soon. We actually have an ox dino to give away, and some fun Easter rewards that were crocheted by one of our administrators. So join. We're going to have a lot of fun in the coming weeks.
Excellent. And in the chat, we have teacher Stephanie, Kim, and Stephanie Jimenez. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Teacher Stephanie, you've been here for a while. I gave you a blue wrench, so next time you type, you'll see your name in blue. So
I wanted to mention before you go too far, I just posted on the friends group I think it was this morning, I put another ad up for the knitting meetup, March 22nd or 26th. March 26th, a knitting, it could be knitters, crocheters, any kind of project, like, virtual crafters. So we had a great time last time. And so I just want to put that out there so people don't miss it if they want to come.
And it's on the events page too, right? For VIPKid?
Yeah.
So great.
You can find it on the events, and you can find it on Eventbrite as well.
Great. Awesome. All right. So today we're going to talk about positive corrections. And I had a bunch of notes, but I left them on my printer. So, Melissa gets on. She's like, be right back. Amanda gets on. She's like, oh, I need to go fix my lights. I'm like, oh, I need to go get stuff off my printer. So, wow, Cindy, your background, you are just on it today.
I'm on it. Yeah. This is something I had. I had the green for a long time. Because things that I do when I do the green screen and I hold up my knitting, or today I did a piano lesson, the green screen doesn't always work for all of that. So I had to have something else. So
right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's talk about positive corrections. And as I was going through it, I was thinking a lot about in general, just being positive in ways that you can make your classroom a positive environment for everyone. So would anybody like to get started? Anything anybody found specifically helpful or anything for today? No.
Well, I think that it's easy when the student is engaging and excited and, you have no problem. And that's how, at the beginning, I think when you're new, it's easy to be happy, even though if the student isn't what you think they're going to be. But like, I'll tell you, today I had a student that I was thinking, because I got a 1 star from someone. No, what was it? I got an off thing review from a parent that I was tired. I was tired that day. So I kind of got it. So then I'm like, okay, I can't slack off. I got to keep smiling. I can't look like I'm irritated because the kid doesn't want to turn on his camera and he's bored and he doesn't want to participate. So what do I do?
Right.
So that's when it gets hard. And you have to kind of like, for me, I have my iPad next to me and I'll pick like a Google Slides matching game. They seem to like the matching game. And I try to understand that, okay, this content is not majorly exciting, Right. So, and so you have to kind of put something into it somehow to make it attractive to your student. Maybe ask them a question about something completely off topic, or use a reward, or a little, mine's a matching game. So every 5 minutes I tell them to pick a match. And maybe at the end, I'll try to save time at the end that we can do it again. So they can leave having had a happy time, even though that lesson per se wasn't, full of excitement.
Right.
So yeah. So take it from me. I had a day I was tired. I was kind of irritated with the student because she wasn't paying attention. There's a baby screaming in the background. The whole lesson was like a bust. It was just like, So, but you can't let go. You have to just give it all you've got and try and do it. Just say, okay, this is going to be 25 minutes of just smiling and making it work.
Right. So, hey, Kathy, thanks for joining us. If you're in the chat, write one way that you maybe build some rapport at the beginning or make your classes positive. So, speaking of rapport, Lucy West had showed me, to have a whiteboard at the beginning and talk to your student, write down the things they like. And the cool thing is I kind of read it back to them. But then in feedback, I can say, oh, well, Joni told me that, his favorite color, it's Joni and it's a he. So Joni told me his favorite color is blue and his favorite animal is whatever, so those, you can kind of put that in feedback. And I think it gives the parents a positive thing as well. And also I use Amanda Panda's rapport building cards. They're on my messy desk here. So it has like, what is your name and how old are you? I use them every day. So I don't know what I did with them. I think I took it to my outschool class over on the other desk. So
I have them.
those. Yes. So I have them tabbed on the ones that I ask new students. So every time a new student comes, I go to the blue tab. It's what's your name? I go to the pink tab. And those are great because you can put them in your own order. Yeah, exactly. So what do you guys do to build rapport?
So I try to ask something beyond, did you have a good day?
Right.
Even if they are little. I mean, like with the level ones, it's kind of hard, so we just talk about what's on that first slide, like what do you see? And but with like level 2 and up, I'll ask how their day was, or I'll ask if they went to school, just to get that past tense going, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, I went to school instead of I go to school. And then I'll ask another question, like, something silly. Did you eat today? Did you walk today? Mm-hmm. And then they kind of giggle and they're like, yes. And then, like I might put up some options. Did you eat rice? Did you eat noodles? And making sure to show visuals similar to like those rapport building cards. Like, why do they work? Because you're holding up something with a visual. So even if they don't completely understand all of your English, they can kind of follow along. And so then, you're like, oh, you ate noodles and you build confidence and you learn something specific to that child, right? Mm-hmm. Or if they say they walk, then we talk about where did they walk to? Did they walk to the park? Did they walk to the store? Did they walk to school? And so then I keep trying to bring that up, like throughout the lesson, right. If it's that level 3 lesson or level 4 lesson with the adverbs, always, usually, often, I'll try to bring that back up. Well, so how often do you eat noodles for dinner or whatever? Right. And then also I have something to kind of put in feedback. Like, it was good to hear her talk about what she ate today, or it was nice to hear him say he walked to the park, or and then most of the time, once you get them talking, like I walked to the park, mm-hmm. you can even ask a follow-up question. What'd you do at the park? And, so they'll tell you I played or I rode my bike or whatever. So you can use that information throughout the class. I keep trying to bring it up, whatever it is that I get in those first 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I also put it in feedback. So then parents know that I got a little bit more out of their child. Like, I got to know something a little bit more personal about their student.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Yeah. Amanda, how about you?
I keep a little notebook. So when I was brand new and just starting, I would write the student's name down. Mm-hmm. And when I saw them, I would write notes from the class. People can do that like through Feedback Panda or another place in the Google Slides Planner. When I first started, I just used an old-fashioned little notebook and I wrote a page with the student. I actually put their name on a whiteboard in my class, so it was part of my background. And I wrote their name in whiteboard marker every time. So when they came to the class, and made them feel like, hey, that's Teacher Amanda. She remembered my name, right. and makes them come back again. Mm-hmm. I also remember the things in the book and use those for questions depending mm-hmm. upon their level. Casey talked about the conversation cards. I do use these all the time. For higher level students, I ask them questions that are more difficult, to ask them to get me to say 4 sentences, tell me about your room, and I give them stems to get them started. So it's very supportive to help them build rapport. So I see regulars, I see the same kids and very rarely see new students. So I have a long standing rapport with them. I know the skills that they're really good at, the skills that they're really bad at, and I know in advance what to support and do with them. That's the value of one-on-one teaching with the students. It is a great idea what Casey said, to write in the feedback to parents what the kids said, because the number one thing parents are looking for is their child to speak in English. So if you write down what the kid told you, that's like telling the parent the gold nugget of what they want to get their investment from sending their kid to education in English. They want them to speak to a a North American accented person and be understood. And that's the goal. And so if you can state that in feedback, that just draws the parents to build your bookings and get kids to come back again. So all of the ideas of the ladies were great. Keeping notes is really important when you're new into starting.
And use the teacher to teacher feedback for those notes too. I mean, I know I've done that before too. Like when I learned something new, like they, like in the family unit, I finally figure out they have an older brother and a younger sister. Like I leave that in the teacher to teacher feedback. So the next time I have that student, it shows up. It's the first thing I see. So I can start there. We're not starting from new at the beginning. I'm going to say, how's your brother? Did you play with your sister? And then they think, oh, you know, teacher Melissa remembered, you know, I had a brother. Or like, I remember I did that a lot recently with going back to school. So like with my older level students, I would ask, you know, well, when are you going back to school? And so it was like over a 2-week period. Like nobody went back to school the same day I felt like that I was teaching. So I would make a note, like, you know, going back to school Monday, going back to school next week. And so then it would be there. So then I would have that next class and I'd be like, how was school? You went back to school today. How was school? And you can just kind of see them because they're like, oh, how did she know I went back to school? You know, because bless their heart, they don't remember what they told you 2 classes ago. So that really helps with, you know, the building rapport, but also like making them feel special, making you feel like you care about them beyond the classroom or beyond what you're doing. And then, you know, like Amanda said, and then you put that in feedback too. Like Hanson went back to school today. He said he had a good first day back at school, but he had a lot of homework. I wish him well in this spring semester. You know, Hanson's mom never leaves me feedback. I wrote that last week and I got 5 apples. I was like, thank you for caring. So, you know, like those kind of things, again, just go a long way, because on top of the relationship with Hanson, she knew that he was talking to me about something outside of the class material.
I like what teacher Kim said. She said upper levels, she asks, what made you smile today and what makes you feel sad? Oh. That's so good. I wish my little one had the words to say it this morning. I said, how are you today? She's like, I'm sad. And I'm like, oh, why are you sad? And she's just like, I don't know.
Oh,
I could not pull it out of her. I was trying, but she just did not have the words, but she was trying too. And we just couldn't figure it out. So I'm like, all right, let's make you laugh. Let's have fun.
I want to add one more thing.
Please.
So an ESL strategy is to introduce the language and concept before it comes up in the curriculum. So what we're talking about and having this conversation with the student, using this resource for classroom conversation cards, introducing the past tense to them in conversation is very valuable. When I teach my student, I had a good day, not instead of I did a good day or whatever other response, instead of I go to school, I went to school. Teaching them that before it comes up in the curriculum is a really great ESL teaching strategy, because it makes them to be recognizing that when they see me, they know they better say I went to school, not I go to school, because I have trained my regulars over periods of times in classes with them to build in that skill. So like my level 2s very early, I still correct them and give them I went to school. I write it on the slide, the first slide. And so I'm really really working on building those skills, especially that past tense skill, because that's so foreign to our students. In Mandarin, there is no tense of different times. It's all one. So the concept of a past tense and a future tense, that is like blow your mind. So it's really good to teach that in advance and have that conversation with them. It's the most powerful time in class, I think, for me, is those first few minutes when we start, because we're really getting warmed up, we're getting them feeling confident, and I'm always supportive with giving them the answer. Like, you notice it has a sentence right there, hello, like everyone can feel successful, even the lower level kids that are very beginners and little tiny newbies, they can really feel success in speaking English, and that builds confidence for the future. The more confident they feel, and like you're not going to yell at them or you did this wrong or you're bad at speaking English, the more English you'll get out of them as they get into the upper levels and they've got more language. So I'll tell you a story of Michelle. Michelle is my most quietest, unsure student. She and I have had the most classes last year. I taught her. I can't count how many. I should look and see how many. We have had hundreds of classes. It took me 60 classes, 60 of them, for her to even be able to speak to me in those opening sentences at the very beginning. Like did you have a good day? I had a good day, without me giving it to her. And I know she knew it, but it took 60 classes for her to feel confident enough to speak to me, because it's really difficult to recall the words, feel confident. Her parents are university professors, so I know that they put a very high value on education. She is an only child, so I know the pressure on this little girl is immense. And so her to feel confident, to feel comfortable, took a long time. And now I can get her to say 4 sentences. I have to tell her, like, tell me 4 sentences about school. I don't let her get off the hook because she's naturally not going to tell me anything because she's just so unsure. But really, it takes time. It's all about that trust and relationship with you as their teacher over time, developing the good skills that you teach ESL, that opening conversation, all of the things we've talked about so far play into really building success.
So you
and it
have
helps
a student. What's
Oh,
that?
sorry. Oh, I said it helps you be positive, right? Like my most typed sentences in the chat box are, I ate noodles today, with the past tense ate. I went to school today. I rode my bike. I played with my friends, right? Even in level 2, I'm typing them in there. They're just repeating me, but they're hearing it, and I'm able to praise them, right? Because we're just in that first few minutes. We're just in the welcoming of the student. But it helps you to begin the class on a positive note. Like, yeah, see, you can do this. Good job. And it sort of sets them up for willingness to participate, I think, during the rest of the lesson as well. So yeah, definitely I give it to them. Like if they don't know, or they say, I eat today, or I go to school today, like I just type it in there and we learn it together. But if you're doing that through the majority of level 2, then that student is going to feel confident when they get in level 3.
So that's what I was just going to ask, like, how do you positively correct that? So you have a student, you're building rapport at the very beginning. Maybe you're just meeting the student, maybe a few classes, and they say, I go to school, and you want them to come up with I went to school. How do you go about that?
So you praise first, always offer that good job, great, whatever your choice phrase is, and then model what you want them to hear. And I will tell you what we tell the new teachers in coaching is that what you are doing is praising their effort. Yes, they gave you an incorrect or incomplete answer, but you're praising the effort that they put forth to talk to you in that second language at 5 or 6 years old over the computer the first time they met you, right? So like you're just praising that effort. And I think, especially coming from, not just the North American education system, but a traditional education system, right? It's you kind of have to turn that switch on in your brain to praise something that was incorrect before you model it. So I really try to help new teachers understand, it's the effort. You're praising the fact that they even said something, that you got some output. So I think if you kind of change your point of view, of positive correction to that. It helps you, you know, just be really excited that they even gave you an answer, right? Yeah. Oh, great job. And then model what you want to hear. And you are more likely to hear that repetition if you offered that praise before you ask for it.
I think being a kindergarten teacher, that gave me a little bit of an advantage to that. Like, to me, that's not foreign. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm always like, good job. Let's try this way.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that?
I once heard of it as saying, yes, but. So it's like you're telling the student, yes, great, but. And so I use inflections in my voice. So I'll have them repeat the sentence again. So let's say they mispronounced the word today. So they said it incorrectly. And I'm like, great job. And then I will say, listen. And I will say, today, and then I will have them repeat, and then I'll say the sentence again. Today is a good day. Today is a good day. So that inflection in my voice tells them that that word was pronounced incorrectly. Listen for that word so they can say it again. In higher levels, when kids are reading, I use a stop sign. So I will put the stop sign up to have them stop if really what their correction they really need it at that moment in the reading passage. Sometimes kids make so many corrections and mistakes in their reading. I can't let them go through and read the whole passage. So I will bracket a part of it and say, focus on this part. I will make them stop and start again. I will give them one word mispronunciation. Like I have a level 6. He's a pretty good reader, but there are some new words he's never read before. So like I'm going to let him finish up that passage just so he gets the comprehension part and understands what he's reading. And then I will say, let's stop and go back. I will circle the words, and then we will go back and do the mispronunciation corrections for the particular words on that passage after I'm done. So it's going to be a little different depending upon the level of the kid and what the kid is doing and what kind of corrections they do need. But the key is to correct everything. So the parents are in our VIPKid classes are having students come to lessons because they want their pronunciation to be corrected. You can't let anything go by. So even on a reading passage, if you only get the first few sentences done, you're stopping to correct every single mistake. You can't let anyone go by. So I'm very particular and careful about that, but still praising and positive. So like I'm a huge cheerleader, like great job. And then I also flip back the slides too. So I will teach the pronunciation of the vocabulary words. We'll do the word, you know, those slides where there's multiple vocabulary words.
Right.
And then I will flip back the slides and I will have them say them fast to practice that pronunciation and the correction one more time. And then I'll flip forward. So I often go back and go forward in a very quick way just to review and practice again. So it's all about that repetition and practice, giving the correction right at the moment when they make it. Parents really are looking for that. They will watch your replay of videos looking for that. They are looking for that correction. So don't let anything go by.
Right. Cindy, how about for you? What are some ways that you use positive correction?
I think it really depends on the student, you know, because I don't know, from when I hear of some teachers, like I wonder if we all get the same style teacher student, because recently I've been getting a lot of students that are maybe it's this time of year, they're a little bit disinterested, they're not really caring if they get it right or not. Like I had one student who was hardly reading. It was like a math problem and you had to pick which A, B, C, or D that was like the math problem, you know, like 20 minus 13 equals 7. And so there's 2 different ways of saying that. And he was not even really looking at it. I'm like, are you really, you know, are you looking at it? So I guess my thing is that you want to be careful about corrections, but also making sure that they're engaged and not just going through the motions. And I think that's what's kind of hard, is sometimes when kids have just decided, you know, they've got a little game over here and they've decided they're gonna, you know, do 2 things at once, and you have to kind of throw them off, you know, pull out a spinner or ask them a weird question, throw up a dinosaur, and you have
be a
to
little silly, right?
Yeah.
That's when you throw on the AR sticker, right? Yeah.
Oh,
so at that point, when they're engaged, sometimes those corrections come and they get with it. I had a student Friday night. I didn't really want to teach that night either. I don't remember. It was Friday. I think it was Friday. And the girl came in 10 minutes late. And I know that maybe she was thinking she didn't really care about class or something. But I was just like, hello, how are you? I'm so glad you made it. And I tried to make it like she felt like she missed something. Because after 15 minutes, you're like, oh, I got to go. Sorry, And then she missed out on that first 10 minutes. So that's the other thing, is just giving it, even though you're tired or you don't really want to deal with disinterested kids, is giving it that little bit of sunshine. That's why I have the sunshine in my corner to just make it look like, yes, you do want to come to class and you do want to do this lesson, because it's more than just speaking English. You get a chance to smile, have fun, and we'll sneak the English in there as well. So
that's a really good point. I love that point, Cindy. I do. I think people or teachers, they tend to think positive correction is only for those mistakes, right? But positive correction could be for engagement, right? If they're not engaging, if they're not looking, and then all of a sudden maybe they start to look or pay attention, praise that engagement. Use that positive reinforcement there for the engagement, or even just simply the participation, right? Yeah. Even if it's wrong, even if it's like really disinterested and they're not even really looking at the slide, if they say something and you praise the fact that they said something, positive reinforcement really works, even with our own children, you can see that the more you're able to praise a little good, the more good you're going to get from that. So it works with engagement too in the class. Absolutely.
I think this really helps me with my own kids, because you're like, wait a second, I need to do that home too.
It works with adults too.
I'm much more patient with my own children now than I was when I started teaching VIPKid, and I homeschool. Okay. Like, I wish I had done this
first, because I would have had a little bit better outlook on, I think, a lot of things. And also, I wish I had trained a dog before I had kids, because
might help you get on the right track there.
I've seen Caesar Milan. I'm like, shoot, I should have done that with my kids.
One of my students, I thought she was super smart, and I know she was playing. She always has this little thing that she plays with. And she was really playing with it and making tons of mistakes, like you were saying. And normally she doesn't. And so I'm like, what are you playing with? Well, she pulled out a pad of paper and started writing the vocab word down. And I'm like, that is not going like your Rubik's Cube. I know that's not what you're doing, but
oh yeah. And I didn't call them out. Like, I had one kid, it was so annoying. I mean, my flesh wanted to just be like, I am so mad at you right now, but of course I smiled. I could hear click, 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 click. So I'm like, are you playing a game? Like, I think sometimes they think they're going to get in trouble. Like, if maybe nobody's looking right now and they can get away with it, but if you mention it, they figure, their parents are going to find out. So if you even say, oh, are you playing a game? What do you, it sounds like you're doing something on the side. Or there's a clicking. I can hear clicking, I don't like to do anything to get my kids in trouble. Like, even if they do something wrong during the class and I have to write something in feedback, I try to do it very gently, because I don't want them to be, in major trouble. But I'll be like, it would have been a much better class if Joey had been paying, not looking to the side, or, whatever. I just really cushion it a lot, because I don't want the kids to, I want them to get corrected, but I don't want them to be, in
trouble.
Again, I'm so dramatic about it. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? What is that? I make this big deal about it, and they're like, shh, nothing,
I know.
nothing, and it's like, yeah. But then they usually cooperate.
I mean, you know what? This is positive correction too, right?
Yeah.
That is one way you can positively do it and not be like,
Be a little
"You think-"
silly, yeah.
Like, this is not time for that, you know?
Yeah.
I
Instead of telling them put it
From-
away.
In a regular classroom, I would be like, put that away right now. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would not be so
Oh, yeah.
nice about it.
And they're hiding it under the table. Do we have toys in class? No. In my out school class, even, I will tell her that Buttercup needs to go away until after class. Buttercup can come say hello at the beginning and at the end of class. But during class, Buttercup has to stay somewhere to watch the class. That's her little toy that she always has. So, I mean, yeah. Amanda, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I have a little regular and so very distractible. She's taught with class with me for a really long time. So my tricks are not fun tricks for her anymore. Like she's seen all my goodies.
Yeah.
So sometimes whatever she's doing in class, I'm really encouraging her to speak in a full sentence, which she does not do. And that has been my like 50 classes of say a sentence, say a sentence, say a sentence, say a sentence. So we play the look around the room game because I know she knows the sentence I can see. So like when she is just off, like in whoa, like I'm not listening to you, playing with something, I'll pull something from my class. I can see a pen. What can you see? And then she'll go grab a pen. I can see a fork or whatever it is that she has around her house comes into the screen. And then after that little, I can see she's got her brain back looking at me, and then we can press on. So there's just little tiny tricks that you're going to get kids to give corrections. That's a game where you could see something, but really it's more of look at me. Hello, here I am. Don't look at your phone or be distracted. Yeah. Because remember, we're on a screen. I always remember the size of a piece of toast. So imagine looking at toast, like for us, like as the person, how engaging is it to look at a video of a teacher the size of a piece of toast? So like you've got to like really get their eyes to come back on you, to keep their eyes on that attention. I'm all over everywhere as an adult. So I'm looking at this, I'm writing notes here, like I'm doing this and that, and other kids are the same way, even more so. So it's all about just
we can
play.
see you, Amanda. I saw you not paying attention.
Dude, girl, I'm the ultimate multitasker.
I wasn't gonna tell your mother or anything.
Redirection is a really good form of positive correction. Like that's essentially what it is, right? That's what we're talking about. Being silly, getting them to do something you know they can do, praising a little thing that they do. Like redirection is probably the most used positive correction in online schooling. Now, any online schooling, not just ESL. I mean, like you were saying, Casey, right? With OutSchool. And then I teach math on Splash Learn, right? Like I have to redirect those children every other slide, you know? Like, yes, I know this is an hour of math. Please look at the slide.
That's a long time.
So it is.
I've done some OutSchool classes for like 40 minutes, and I found that the 25 minutes is really the best window of time to keep their attention.
Yeah, that's why kindergarten was good for me. I mean, you guys know how busy I am. By the time I'm ready to move, the kindergartners were too. So I'm like, let's go next.
25
next thing.
Is a good amount of time for a class, because if I tried the math classes for 40 minutes, and at 25 minutes the kids are ready to, even though they had a good time, they're ready to kind of do something else. You know?
So I do want to tell people that, or for VIPKid teachers, on the VIPKid teacher portal, there are tons of things about positive correction, positive classroom, positive corrections for levels like 1 through 3, then positive corrections for 4 to 6. I think it's Hillary that talks about them. She talks a lot about being patient in your classroom. And also there are workshops on like behavior correction and management. And actually there's one tonight at 7:30 my time. So it must be 8:30 Eastern. So if anybody, is having difficulty with a student with behavior or trying to come up with positive ways, that might be a good workshop for you. So
that's the other thing, is that being patient, like that is one of my probably downfalls, is I have to make myself just wait. because I want to kind of go to the next thing, or I want to correct them. I want to give them the words to say, but just trying to like give them time to even think and not think that they're not thinking, you know. We need to keep making sure that we are patient enough to give them time to speak when they need to.
Right. So that processing time is usually the same amount of time that it took you to say something. So, you know, if it takes you so long to say, model a sentence that you want the student to hear, then you want to smile and make that TPR, you know, for just as long. And then they'll process and begin speaking. And that's hard, I think. So I always tell people, you know, this isn't radio. So dead air is okay. Right. We can have that little bit of silent time where the kids are processing, but we're still engaging them. That's why the smile and the facial expression and the gestures in TPR are so important, because even though it's silent, like dead air time, there's still a lot happening there. Like learning is happening in those little pauses.
Yeah, it's wait time, think time, definitely. Yeah. So on Hillary's notes, what I took from hers was to remain patient and positive, model the correct sentence structure, isolate phonetic mistakes. So Amanda talked about that, like in the passages in the different reading, and attempt to correct most, if not all, the errors. She does talk about the parents, like they're expecting it from us, just like Amanda had said, and try different methods to encourage repetition. So one thing I do for repetition, I pull up Google Slides. I don't usually use it for rewards, once in a blue moon, but I use it for the sentence patterns and structures. I will say the sentence, I'll show them the sentence that's, you know, in Google Slides, and or even just the vocabulary. You know, if it's a ball on the screen, you circle the ball, but then there's a ball here, there's a ball here, so they can say it more than once without just the same slide, the same picture. So I think getting them, you know, encouraging repetition in a positive way too. So
I think, you know, I just want to touch a little bit on the different ways you do it for the levels, right? So like I have a stop sign too, and very similar to what Amanda Panda was saying with the older levels where there's like 3 or 4 slides of reading in a row, like you can't just let that go and then go back and correct, because then they're not going to comprehend. Right. When you get to that comprehension question slide, they're not going to know what they just read to be able to answer those questions. So you do want to stop them, you know, especially on those vocabulary words or the parts of the reading that pertain to those questions. So I always look at the reading. I mean, you know, I'm 3.5 years in, and like, yes, I click through the slides the night before to see what the comprehension questions are. So then I know while they're reading, this is something they need to read correctly to be able to use it 2 slides later. But with the younger kids, you know, something we really push and train is using a visual emphasis with the mistake. So you're giving that positive correction, right? You're saying, great job, good, you know, and then you're modeling what you want to hear, right? You're modeling the correct sentence frame or the correct pronunciation, whatever it is. But you should always offer some type of visual emphasis, which is exactly what your Google Slides are, right? So that's what I use it for. If they make a mistake with a sentence frame, I'm going to praise them. And you can pop up a Google slide for visual emphasis, or, you know, like take that down a notch, use your pen. Circle it on the slide, you know, if it's a word or part of a word. You know, I've even been known to like use the pen to separate a word into syllables if they're having trouble with pronunciation. But the visual emphasis is very important for those lower levels, 1, 2, and even the beginning part of 3. Praise them, model, but give them some sort of visual emphasis as they take that correction.
I will say also the Starlight classes are generally older students that need more help. So I think the Google Slides work great for those. And there's some great Starlight slides because they don't have all of those foundational skills. So I think the extra
How do you find
visuals
those? The only thing I do for Google Slides is the rewards. So what do you just go to the lesson
You search up the lesson. Yeah.
Okay.
So instead, when you slide into slide kick, when you what's the word? Sign in. That's what I like.
I liked what you said. It works.
When you slide into slide kick, at the bottom here, mine's not up yet, but at the bottom here, it'll say lessons. And you just click on that and you type in the lesson. Okay. Autocorrect will try to change it on you every time. SLF for Starlight is always trying to change it to ALF. Okay. Every morning it types ALF instead of SLF.
And you just type in the code. So like if it's MC level 5 L2, you just type in that into that, and then it searches and finds the Google Slides rewards. There's lots of choices too. Yeah, like there are different creators who've made them, so the Google Slides have all options. Like you can get one made by this person, another made. Everybody has their own separate little style. So
yeah. I've done the rewards. I just haven't really used them for extension. And the Starlight ones, I think that's good. I would need those. That would be beneficial.
Yeah.
So one thing I like now,
cute. I love it,
is that so I typed in level 3 unit 9. I know it probably looks super small up here, but it pulls up MC level 3 unit 9 1, and then it also has the NMC. Right. So you can find, like, if they're in the old curriculum or the new curriculum, you're able to find it. It's going to pull up both of those. So I find that super helpful. I tell you what, the gals over at Google Slides, they have got it together, getting all of this new curriculum in there as well. But yeah, you can click on those. And did you know when you do that, I know this isn't a Google Slides Zoom meeting, but when you do that, it pulls up props for the lesson, but it also pulls up suggested rewards.
Yeah, and it shows NMC or MC. So on the phone, you can't see as much, and I don't use it on my computer, so I just type in the whole thing on my phone, but you can scroll.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, but it does show NMC and MC. That's what I was just checking. I didn't know.
And they're one after another. So you'll see like the MC lesson and then the NMC lesson underneath it. So, yeah.
Great.
I want to show real fast with props what I do to get repetition. So like if I'm in level 2, it's a very simple looking slide, just has like he and she eats, he eats. I pull up a prop of she. You could use any girl. I have Meg. And so I'll hold up cake, she eats cake. And the student will say she eats cake. She eats ice cream. Nom, 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 nom. And she eats hamburger. Then even if the slide doesn't have he, I will pull he, because why not? We're practicing those sentence stems. So now he eats cake. Gum, 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 gum. He eats ice cream. Gum, 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 gum. He eats hamburger. So basic props are really important. And then even if the we is not there, I got 2 people. So here come the 2 people. We eat cake. Gum, 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 gum. We eat ice cream. Dum, 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 dum. We eat hamburger. So if you just listened, I just said 9 sentences. The student's saying 9 sentences for one single slide. That's the power of repetition and practice. Very simple tools. You don't need a lot of things, a he and a she, and then you just run with it and get them to say. The more sentences they say in English, the better their English language learning. So, I mean, that's just one example of how easy it is really to just bring in that power of repetition. That's why parents are paying for one-on-one English classes from professional teachers. So you just got to get those workshops. I didn't learn that just on my first day. I took workshops. I must have taken every single one offered when I first started. I watched every single YouTube video out in the whole wide world when I first started. I taught a bunch of lessons that were not so good, but when I knew better, I did better. So if you're new, just starting, here's a little hope for the future. That's a strategy take to your toolbox and use in your class. It really works, and the power is there. I did my count. I've taught 187 classes with the little girl who's super shy, 243 classes with my longest regular student. And so again, it's all about that practice and repetition and speaking English as many times as you can get them to.
And also with those 9 repetition sentences, you were working on verb conjugation, right?
I
'Cause
was.
you threw in that we, and then they got to practice it without the S. So
I have a tool for that too. So I use this whiteboard all the time. I don't make them anymore in my Etsy shop, but you can get the printable. So like it fits right on the whiteboard. I write them here, the S, no S, the best tool, use it all the time. So again, with that little, I'd have Meg and Mike and those 4 fruits and then our vegetables or whatever to eat. And then this grammar teaching whiteboard. So
I have the same thing. I've got a bunch of grammar ones already made up that I did my first like couple of weeks of VIPKid, and I still use them all the time. So I just use a Sharpie on the dry erase because you can get it off later on. And yeah, I just bought a bunch of those little dollar ones from Walmart.
yeah, this one's and really easy. So it just fits right on there. And then the S and the no S. So
great.
Yepperoos.
Hey, Alexis, thanks for stopping by. Well, I think that's it. If you have any questions for us and you're watching the replay, please put the questions down in the comment section below, and I will ask the team if I need help answering your question, and we'll get back to you. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for coming. And next week, I sent out what we're going to talk about. TPR, I think, is next week. So join us 3 o'clock Eastern every Monday. We'll see you.